Hello, good morning.
Hi, Lucia. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Are we online, or how does this work, please? Because I did not know how to join.
Okay, let me on hold.
Hi everyone. Hi Lucia.
Hello, Kareem. Hi.
Okay. I don't know why it started.
Could we test the sound again? Like for some reason I can't hear.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Just let me check. Yeah.
خلصتوا؟ نص ساعة؟
Oh yeah? Yeah, I can hear well. No?
Yeah.
All good. Yep.
Yeah, can you hear now?
Yeah,
All good.
I can hear you. I can hear you well.
Yeah, very good, very good. So that we have set up. Now I wanted to try this video, if we can share that one.
Oh yeah, cool.
I don't know if we agreed that I will share it, but I can do it as well if I know how to manage it. So I can try, and then you tell me if the voice is there or not.
Yeah. No worries. No worries. Yeah.
Let's
Please
try
go for
it. So share. Press include sound, yes.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Present mode, fine. On a screen.
Would you enjoy earning more than your peers?
Working fine. Yep.
Yeah, it works. It works.
Okay, so what we will do, I will have it prepared if I have it, as I have it now. I think I can manage it now, how to share it. So we start with this one, then I will say my section, and then we go, Rania, you will open your presentation and we can run across CV. I think we okay with that.
I think yeah. So okay, I think yeah, we'll do this way. And I think whenever Rania finishes, she would give me the control for the presentation as well, and
Yeah.
we'll take it from there.
What I wanted to ask, Rania, if you can, when you are showing CVs, I don't want to read one line by line. It's better when it just will appear, all text on that presentation. And I basically...
It will appear all.
Yes,
It
yes.
will appear as one set.
Yeah, yes, because when I don't think it's required to read one by one, because then it's quite long.
Yeah.
And I think we need to, I know you have a great CV, there's a lot of things to say, but,
Yeah.
but just speed it up. Now the question is, are we already live or not? I don't know.
We are live. I believe we have others as well. So
Yes, yes, I believe they're listening
yeah.
our preparation, so it's okay.
Yes, thank you everyone for attending. Yeah, but we didn't
So
start
early,
yet.
yes, very good.
That's very good, but we didn't start yet. We are doing a quick dry run before the actual start, which is in 15 minutes. So thank you for everyone. And it's good, like you have 15 minutes with us, see how it goes before starting. If you have any questions or something, yeah, 15 minutes for you. So yeah. Yeah. Start soon.
Yes, yeah. I will close all my other files, which I don't need. So it will not get disturbed. So let me try sharing again this video. Include sound, presenter mode, screen. And then I can go with that. Perfect.
You want to play the sound again? Make sure it's working.
Well, we can do it. I just, there is a one switch which I have to press when I want to do it properly, you know.
Okay. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, it's fine.
I like how it started. Would you earn more than your peers? I like the first slide in the video. Yeah.
This? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
That's good. That's good.
So let me manage this. Hopefully it should be okay. How are you doing, Kareem? Today you have evening here, not 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. or anything like that.
Yeah, today, yeah, I just finished work. So, yeah, 2 hours for. I'm doing good. I'm doing all right. All good. Yeah, the weather here is, it changes every 5 minutes, literally. Like I was wearing shirt at the morning and it's freezing now.
Oh, okay. We still have warm here in those countries.
I think it's always warm. It's not like you still have. It's always warm. It doesn't change.
True.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Well, it can be 10 degrees. It can be 10 degrees, which is quite cold.
Yeah. Yeah.
For this area.
Yeah, but basically, yeah, but it doesn't go this cold. It doesn't rain much as well. Qatar, yeah.
Okay.
Hello, Lucia.
Hello, Mail.
How do you do today?
Very good, very good. So what we agreed, I will play that video and then we start with introduction. You want to play something or you want to show something?
No, this is a plan B in case the video didn't work, probably like the other time.
It's going to work. It's going to work this time.
Okay,
Look,
no
we are in advance. We are in advance. There is already 3 people attended, so it should work.
Clear. Okay, I will stop.
So I think we have it. It's fine. It's just this Microsoft Teams is a little bit problem because again we live and we shouldn't be live. There should be a training session. So how it was set up, I don't know. We have
Teams are much complicated than Zoom.
Next time we only do Zoom. I'm happy to manage Zoom, no problem. But Teams, I do have issues with this.
This is what headquarter is supporting us with.
Yes.
So no complain about it.
Are you complaining against the headquarter?
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we have 10 minutes, so we can
انجينير كريم صباح الخير ولا مساء الخير، معلش انا ما سلمتش عليك.
مهندس وائل؟
معاك يا فندم.
يسعد مساءك. يا how are you؟ على راسي على راسي. أنا قلت لا يعني I understand that you were busy, you wanted to check something with Lucia, so yeah, so all good. Like I know you by repetition, but yeah, I admire you as well, so I hold a lot of respect for you. So finally meeting virtually.
It's my honor to have you with us.
خلاص حبيبي مهندس وائل، الله يسعدك الله يسعدك الله يسعدك.
When are you coming, Kareem, to see us in Riyadh?
I was actually maybe this Christmas or December, maybe, I'm not sure, but I'll have to work it out because they love me here working on Christmas, so so
well, I think yeah, that's here as well common. You know, you will not work during Ramadan, but you will work during Christmas, and I will not I will work during Ramadan and then go for Christmas. So it's opposite.
That makes sense. Maybe it will end up. No, I have no idea how it will work. But my plan was last year actually, but it didn't work out because I had some other emergency. So I went to UK. I was planning to go to UK, but I didn't go as well. So I stayed up flat straight. Maybe end of this year, hopefully. Yeah, I have to actually. Like, yeah, I have heaps of things that in Saudi still I didn't even finish. So yeah.
Fingers crossed. Okay, so we can mute ourselves and wait till 12 o'clock will be soon.
Yeah.
So we can just wait till the people are coming and joining us.
That's good.
I think we prepared.
Yeah. Let me ask a question for attendees. Like, are you guys able to speak whenever you wish or comment or do Q&A?
I think they're not. They're not because
the mic. If anyone wishes, because the mic is closed, if anyone wishes to talk, you just send on the chat, and we will open the mic. Just send a request on the chat, and we will open the mic.
Okay, that's good. So yeah, I think Rania,
and yeah, Lucia, you can see chat, right?
I can see chat. Yes, I
can
so you see Q&A.
You can, so you can control if anyone would like to
during your presentation. Yes, I can.
Yeah.
I can manage
after
that.
in the Q&A. If anyone wants to speak, you can open to listen.
So Lucia, if you are happy, maybe after we start by a few minutes to make sure that everyone is there. If you're happy, you may write on the chat. If anyone wants to speak on the QA and sessions, ask for his mic to be open because maybe someone doesn't know. Maybe say, yeah, if you're happy with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yes, because Q&A session is our favorite session. So
yeah, to make it more interactive in this way.
Yes, no problem.
Yeah, that's good. That's perfect.
Okay, so good luck. We have 8 minutes to go, so let's see.
Good. That's pretty good. Seven minutes to go. Everything is ready and running. Do you want to make a dry run for the presentation as well, Rania? Are you happy with that, or you're on mute, Rania? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Rania, I'm using AACE section account. You can access with your account if you like.
So I think well, let's text to her because maybe she
I already texted.
Okay. Thank you so much for this. Thank you. Rania, are you happy to do it right run for the presentation or?
Would you enjoy earning more than your peers? What about specialized training and networking opportunities that will help you advance your career faster towards success? Members of AACE International enjoy these benefits and much, much more. AACE gives its members the tools they need to prosper. From electronic magazines and newsletters to our series of professional development webinars, members benefit from specialized expert knowledge. We host online communities to allow members to network, post questions, discuss topics, and provide professional development. Our members have 24/7 access to world-class resources, AACE's body of knowledge, and virtual library. Members receive discounted rates for conferences, continuing education seminars, certifications, professional development presentations, and AACE publications. AACE arms our members with the technical tools and expertise to complete projects on time and on cost, while meeting investment and operational goals. We have been the leader in the cost and management industry since 1956, with members in 100 countries and over 80 local sections. Success is not a big step in the future. Success is a small step taken right now. Find out more at web.aacei.org/membership and join AACE International today.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening for the people in Australia. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Lucia Vernon, and I was recently appointed as the Regional Director for Region 7 for AACE, which is our MENA region that includes Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE. In my professional life, I have been working as Forensic Planning Director at Quantum Global Solutions, Claims Consultancy since 2013. And since then, I have been involved with AACE as a volunteer. I had the opportunity to join the AACE conference in Atlanta 2 months ago, where I attended the presentation of our today's speakers, Dr. Rania and Engineer Kareem, who well represented our region with their technical paper, Practical Consideration for Substantiating Disruption Claims, and are happy to share their knowledge with us today. This webinar is jointly organized with AACE Australia Section, as I mentioned before, and without further disruption, let's go to talk about disruption. Please, Dr. Rania, feel free to share your presentation. Do we have any problem to sharing the presentation slides?
Rania, are you happy sharing the presentation?
I believe we lost her.
Yeah, she's frozen.
She is a little bit frozen. Do you have all presentation, Kareem?
Yeah, I do have it, but the thing is still we need Rania. It's yeah. So okay, I'm happy to share it anyway.
Let's share it. I will do a little bit of a CV introduction and then we continue.
Yeah, no worries. Give me a minute.
If you have an issue as well, feel free to send it to me.
I'm sharing it now, if you can see it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, very good, very good. So as I mentioned before, Rania is reloading, which is very good. So we met at AACE International in our Atlanta conference. So you can move to see this. Yeah, okay. So I can say a little bit of a bio about Dr. Rania. She has 20 years experience in the construction industry. She's a senior contracts manager at Hill International North Africa, also vice president for AACE Egypt Section, Middle East and North Africa liaison, and part of AACE Women in Project Controls Committee. She holds PhD degree in construction engineering from American University in Cairo, LLM, from Robert Gordon University, UK, a master and bachelor degree in construction engineering from Mansoura University. She's a fellow of FCIArb, PMP certified. There is so many titles that I don't know when she had the time to get it, so young lady. Let's go to Kareem, Engineer Kareem. Engineer Kareem is a planning and interface manager at a company called Ventia, Melbourne, Australia. Previously, he worked in our AACE region for project management consultancy and for many main contractors. He holds professional engineer certificate. He is part of Engineers Australia group. He has PSP certification, PMP certificate from PMI, holds FCIArb and a bachelor degree in civil engineering from Egypt. I hope Dr. Rania is with us and she can continue with her presentation. Well, if she's not with us, looks like... Is Dr. Rania with us?
Yes.
Oh, very good.
Sorry,
You're back.
Sorry, I had a problem. Yeah, and
Please feel free to continue. I nearly started your presentation.
Yeah. Okay. So I will share the presentation. Sorry, I'm sorry for this interruption.
I'll stop sharing then. Yeah, I'll get it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry everyone for the glitch. Like literally, we are in different time zones. So this happens a lot. So all good.
Sorry, I have a problem with the connection. So.
Thank you, Vinod, if I pronounce it right. Yeah, true. So we can, that's true.
So can you see my presentation now?
Well and clear. Yeah, you can put it in a slideshow if you're happy.
Yeah. I will. Today we are going to talk about first introduction, challenges in proving disruption claims, challenges in quantification of disruption claims, inefficient planned work versus disruption, practical consideration and application of methods of calculating disruption damages. Introduction. Disruption, as defined in Society of Construction Law Protocol is disturbance, hindrance, or interruption to contractors' normal working methods, resulting in lower efficiency. So disruption claims are related to loss of productivity in the execution of particular work activities. Because of disruption, these work activities are not being able to be carried out as efficiently as planned. Loss of productivity, as defined in AACE Recommended Practice, is experienced when a contractor is not accomplishing its anticipated, achievable, or planned rate of production. Simply, the contractor is producing less than its planned output per work hour of input. So the contractor is expending more effort in per unit of production than originally planned, which results in loss of money to the contractor. Disruption claims are different than prolongation claims. So prolongation claims are related to losses and expenses due to the delays to the activities in question or the works as a whole, which results in critical delays to the project completion date or the contractual completion date. However, disruption claims are related to additional costs and losses due to the expanded or disrupted periods of activity, which may not affect the project completion date. Disruption can be caused by a variety of events. Some are excusable, some are neutral, and some are non-excusable, such as variations, out of sequence works, schedule compression, overmanning, and excessive overtime. Actually, to prove disruption claims, first the contractor should prove entitlement or contractual right to recover damages to the degree of certainty required or demanded by decision maker, even though the main cause or general cause or causes of disruption may be simple to appraise. Second, the contractor should provide adequate evidence for causation, the relationship between damages and the entitlement. In all cases, only the amount of disruption caused by the owner may be compensated to the contractor. Actually, in practice, there are a lot of challenges in proving disruption damages. However, today we are going to concentrate or highlight the main 6 challenges. The first challenge is late observation of disruption. Actually, disruption is different from delay that its presence may not be immediately obvious. So the contractor may not notice loss of productivity until, for example, financial reports have been prepared. And this may happen after the works have been disrupted and important information have been missed. In addition, work disruption and interim are most likely caused by subcritical delays, those which are not taken into consideration in the critical path analysis, which address delays to the project completion date. So recovery of losses or damages caused by subcritical delays may not be aided by securing extension of time claim. To put it simply, prolongation cost related with extension of time deals with indirect resources, those which are required due to the extended project duration. However, disruption deals with direct resources, those which are interrupted and exposed to loss of productivity. The second challenge is identifying causal linkage. The mere fact is that the disruption to the project schedule, the project plan schedule, may not give an automatic right to payment. So disruption owing to each cited cause needs to be specifically identified, supported, and proven. So to put it another way, some disruption or some types of disruption are not compensable, such as those which are brought on by the contractor's own action. For example, incorrect scheduling, poor site management, or out-of-sequence material delivery. Actually, this is the standard form of defense to the contractor's disruption claims. So to secure successful disruption argument, contractor should specify instance in which the owner violated the specific provisions of the contract, or instance in which additional expenses are expressly mentioned or stipulated under the contract. Actually, the challenge and expense to specify each source of disruption may be quite high and very difficult, which may result in claims more global in nature. These types of claims are not supported by the cause, at least in parts, if it doesn't demonstrate the relationship between cause effect and entitlement. So In addition, the contractor may accelerate at the same time as loss of productivity brought on by disruption, which is subject to different entitlement criteria. The third challenge is the cumulative impact and ripple effects. Disruption may have single or multiple impacts. Also, loss of productivity may have an effect on other activities as well. So, depending on the relationship between the disrupted activity and its predecessor and successor activities. The most frequent sources of disruption are variation, which results in both loss of productivity and further changes or additional works. So, for example, the variation of the change on the main contractor scope of work may affect the execution or may adversely affect the execution of subcontractor scope of work. So the cumulative impact and ripple effect brought on by disruption needs concentration on the relationship between change, disruption, and loss of productivity. At this stage, the most challenging or the main challenge is to separate between the individual effect and the overall effect of all events taken together. The fourth challenge is exclusion of various forms of disruption. Most of the contracts expressly exclude specific types of disruption. So the contractor may be granted extension of time due to the time impact of the disruption or loss of productivity as per the contract. However, the contractors remain responsible for covering the associated costs. These types of disruptions, such as those brought on by natural disasters, exceptionally adverse weather conditions, strikes, and shortage of supplies. Also, the main challenge is that the court emphasized that for time of extension to be granted, contractual language should necessitate that such a disruption, even though they are not compensated, they should be unanticipated and beyond the full control of the contractor or subcontractor. The fifth challenge is claim for planned progress versus actual progress. Basically, to calculate damages due to disruption is to put the contractor in the same position financially as if the progress of the work hadn't been disrupted. So, to prove causation, the contractor should demonstrate disruption to actual progress, not planned progress. However, actually, most of the contractors failed to prove entitlement to disruption claims because they attempted to claim the difference between the as planned and the actual man-hour productivity due to lack of sufficient records to demonstrate actual loss and costs caused by disruption events. Actually, this is the main challenge or the most common challenge in proving disruption claims. The sixth challenge is disruption of managerial staff. As we said, the disruption is related to or is involved with direct resources, those which are exposed to loss of productivity. However, in some cases, managerial and other staff members will experience disruption in addition to the disturbance of direct staff, since they may perform additional tasks or they may be taken away from their original tasks. So at this time, the main challenge for the contractor is to prove both that the disruptive event or disruption event caused the management time spent in question and how much of that time has been disrupted. And this, for example, by providing evidence or providing proof that the management time is spent in certain questions or in certain projects. Also, in this regard, the courts ruled that in case that there is no proof, for example, there is no evidence or proof, for example, proof that disruption event caused business disruption is not presenting, the case may be or the claim may be rejected in this basis. Actually, assuming that the contractor succeeded to prove entitlement for disruption and evidence is given and it's compelling, it remains challenging to measure and justify the financial impact of disruption due to a lot of challenges. Today, we are going to concentrate on the four main challenges in quantification of disruption claims. The first challenge is availability of cost data. Actually, the availability and application of cost data are the most challenging in quantification of disruption damages. In construction projects, payroll cost data are released weekly or even monthly and charged to accounting cost codes. However, quantity information such as craft hours or the units of production completed are checked less regularly and frequently not recorded as part of the conventional accounting process. So the main challenge in calculating disruption damages is incorporating this massive amount of data into loss of productivity analysis connected to disruption. Second challenge is lack of contractual provision. Most of the contracts don't specify specific methodology for calculating disruption damages. So the most acceptable method in the course may differ according to each jurisdiction. So, for example, under English case law, the contractor may attempt to claim for the difference between the amount allowed in the tender and the actual amount of work accomplished. However, this method depends on two assumptions. First is that the amount authorized for the work at the time of the tender was accurate and that the contractor managed the construction operation efficiently. However, if any of these two assumptions is incorrect, this means to inaccurate results, which mean to unsuccessful disruption claim. On the other hand, under the US case law, the most acceptable approach is measured mile approach. This method depends on comparison of identical activities in impacted or unimpacted sections of the project to measure the loss of productivity due to the known set of events. Although measured mile approach is the most common and the most acceptable approach in US codes, however, in some situations it cannot be used. For example, if the disruption was significant or that the tasks are complex, they may not be identical activities that allow for like-for-like comparison for productivity rates. Also, it will not be feasible to establish baseline productivity level if the contractor hasn't kept site records. The third challenge is accuracy of the cost data. Contractors' losses due to disruption include the effect of loss of productivity, as well as additional direct expenses due to additional work caused by disruption. So, for the contractor to measure the impact of loss of productivity, the contractor's records are the most reliable source. So, frequently, contractor would construct a separate job cost account just for the impacted activities. These cost records should be examined carefully in order to ensure the accuracy of such data. In practice, or practically, these cost data or cost records should have the answers to the following questions. Are the labor categories consistent with the affected activity? So, for example, if the disruption event affected reinforced concrete or execution of reinforced concrete activity, so the cost records should prove that the loss of productivity was concerned with labors relevant to reinforced concrete activity, such as steel fixer or formwork labors, not for labors irrelevant to this kind of activity, such as MEP or plumbing labors. Second, do material charges represent true excess cost, or do they include the original scope of works? So, for example, if the disruption events affects or caused wastage to particular material, so this wages or the cost of this wastage should exclude the ordinary wastage of this type of material. For example, the ordinary wastage of tiles is 5%. This percentage of the cost of this percentage should be included in the original scope of work and the original contract price, and should be excluded from the costs or damages due to disruption. Are the costs incurred in the appropriate time periods? This is a very important question to prove causation. The cost records should prove that the time periods related to the loss of productivity are relevant to the time periods in which the disruption event happened or occurred in order to prove causation. Are the costs reasonable? In order to secure successful disruption argument, the contractor should exclude any other costs irrelevant or not related to loss of productivity. The fourth challenge is categorization of the cost data. The pricing contractor's cost structure must be carefully considered when calculating of disruption damages. So in accordance to STL protocol, the main objective of disruption analysis is to demonstrate loss of productivity and the additional cost and losses over and above that would have been incurred if not for the disruption event for which the employer is responsible. So the contractor, the main challenging aspect in construction cost control is measuring and tracking work hours and production in sufficient detail in order to allow analysis for the data to determine the root cause of poor labor productivity. So the assessment should include direct cost, indirect cost, and overhead and profit. Generally speaking, costs should fall into three categories. Those of one of nature, independent of the quantity of the works or the time or the duration of the project, such as mobilization and demobilization. Those which are related to quantities of the works and the project duration, such as labor, material, equipment, maintenance costs, and those which are purely time related, such as rental cost or site security. Thank you. Now I will leave the floor to Kareem.
Thank you, Rania. That's very good. Thank you so much. Would you give me the control
share?
on that?
Yeah.
You want me to share? Okay, I'll do share.
Yeah, you can share.
Cool. I'll share mine. Sorry, everyone. Like, give me a minute or less.
With that minute, I think, Rania, if you can answer one of our questions. There's a question. Is contractor entitled to receive overheads and profits under disruption claim?
Overhead and the profit in disruption claim?
Yes.
If the disruption related to the overhead costs, okay, as we mentioned, the managerial costs, the overhead staff, so the contractor should prove this to be entitled. However, if not, so he is entitled to the loss of productivity costs due to the time spent for the laborers, okay? In the time the laborers is spent more in this activity due to the reduction in the productivity or due to the inefficiency. However, overhead, if the disruption affected the indirect resources as well.
Yeah. Well, as I understood, I believe depends on the reason for the disruption as well.
Yeah.
What you just said. So generally, answer will be yes, because it's a variation to the work, I believe. Yeah.
Yes, if it caused variation to the indirect resources.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Kareem. Sorry for.
No worries. We're all good. Actually, this question is very much anticipated. So, can you see the screen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All good. So yeah. Before starting with disruption and talking about the considerations, now we have how it's going. First, I would love to start the disruption by explaining the difference between disruption and the inefficient planned works. Usually, like I've seen cases which works like were inefficiently planned, and they claim it as disruption, but this is not the case. So that's why I picked a scenario which could explain both in one. Scenario is simple. It's one of the simplest projects. Basically, we will have to do some testing in the project. We have the blue arrows and the orange arrows. So it's just 2 days. 2 days we have to work in the culvert, and the culvert is beside the sea. So you have waves, and we are more related of the current waves and the current tidal. So that's why we have to pick the lowest tides. So the lowest tides usually comes 2 times a day. That's depicted in the graph, as you see, in the dark green and the low green. I don't know if you guys see my mouse or not, but I'm moving somewhere. Can anyone just confirm if he sees the cursor or not? But if not, okay. If not, you have the dark green, which is the lowest tide, and then you have the light green. It happens twice a day. So ideally, in order for works to work well, ideally to utilize the window of the lowest tides, because it's more safe. You can do more with less water, less equipment would be used. So ideally, the shift would start from 9 p.m. in this case, because of the lowest tides, which is published everywhere. It's not something knowledge or information that's for the particular project. It's published everywhere. So you have 3 windows of direct works, let's say this way. So the blue arrow is here is basically for the support works, for mobilization, putting the bombs on, putting the sand barriers, etc., 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 and make sure that you're ready. So when 1 a.m. starts, you're ready to start the working and do the assembling and get out of the project within the 3 and utilize the same for the next day. So this was the plan. 2-day shift, subcontractor, get in, get out, and finish. And using the lowest tides, which is very low, minimum safety, minimum sand barriers would be used, minimum of bombs would be used, and everything supposedly would work as planned. But what actually happened? The subcontractor, in this case, subcontractor decided not to work what's planned. So the dark green hours, which is day 1 low tides, up to day 4 low tides, that's the lowest tide per day, 3 hours and like more or less. And here's the low tides. The subcontractor didn't decide to do so. Subcontractor decided to go for the normal working hours from 8 to 5 and doing the works, neglecting the tidal and just working as normal as nothing happened. So it only intersects here for 12 p.m. if you can see up to 2 p.m. and not for all days. So that's why it took actually 4 days. For a small subcontractor, you're talking about double of the effort, double of the costs, double of the time. So that went up for a case, and it took actually a two-day job, which would finish with the results of everything in 2 weeks. It took actually a month because of the dispute and for the inefficient planning for the works. So we should always, the first thing we should do before saying it's a disruption or not, we should look, so did we plan it right? Was it planned right? Was it efficient or wasn't efficient? And then check the costs. So now we will go to practical consideration for application, the disruption damage. We are going to use a scenario. In this scenario, we are going to apply each and every method mentioned here. Not exactly each and every method, but we will apply the most important methods and some methods that we are doing in here. These methods we'll go through it and just make sure. And the RP25R-03 is explaining it thoroughly, but we will use one scenario. We will apply from measured mile, earned value, work sampling, and goal. So the typical scenario for anyone working in roads would be a typical, which would have for a road closure, more or less, there would be like support works, direct works, and then another support works. Usually support works would be detouring, adding the traffic closures, adding the traffic setup and mobilization, adding the equipment, etc. if you're doing resurfacing works, for an example. So if you look at the first one would be a typical normal scenario for a road closure. In our case, we use here it's a 2-lane closure. So the mobilization and setting up and doing everything and the equipment and the pre-start and everything to have it start the direct work takes almost 2 hours. And after this 2 hours, as in it's night works from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., we have almost 5 hours of direct work. So 8-hour shift, only 5 hours of direct work, 2 hours for mobilization, setting up, and we have a final 1 hour for demob. Just take it out and be ready to open the site. And this time is very crucial because, like usually when you get a memorandum of authorization or MOA or etc., that's based on you have to open the road on a certain time. So in this case, what we're going to do, an oversized truck, that's a big truck. We're talking about a super load. We're talking about TBA, we're talking about 5-meter width and almost to 40-meter length. We're talking about something huge. The length of a lane, it goes from 3.2 to 3.75 meter. So you're talking about a super load, which would occupy almost 2 lanes. So for the super load movement and moving, it's not an easy thing. Like whatever equipment you have there, especially we have a big equipment for resurfacing, etc., which is like ranges almost to 2 meters. You have other equipment. So you have to move the equipment in order to accommodate for the super load to go by the road closure. And both are for the same client. We will say in the same client here would be the state. So after doing the mobilization and setting up, that's 2 hours of work, 2 hours of support work, no direct work, no productivity, 0. An oversized truck, I would say super load, arrived in site. That's after the 2 hours, which came at 10 p.m. You'll see it as a milestone in here. To partially demobilize and coordinate to allow for this size movement, it's not an easy job. It's like basically your demop and mop, but within the site limits, which would take almost 2 hours because like within the site limits, but for the moving of the truck and making sure it's safety and coming back again. So taking 2 hours and another 2 hours for partially demop and mob again, the decision was to cancel the shift. And the decision is wise enough because you cannot open the road by 5 a.m. where you're obliged to open it by 5 a.m. half finished. It wouldn't be safe. It wouldn't be allowed. So the decision to cancel the shift and you need 1 more hour. So basically you're left with 3 hours. So you wouldn't finish your shift and you cannot open the road halfway. So the decision was a good decision to make at this time. Why explain this scenario in detail? I explain the scenario in detail because we are going to apply each and every method that we mentioned before in order to claim for such claim. We'll use the most used or the most accepted by courts, especially in US journal, would be the measured mile approach. Measured mile approach is like, it's perfect, it's easy to understand, and it's easy to explain. It's very straightforward, no much explanation needed to it. Basically, we'll go for activity A disrupted and activity B disrupted. We'll assume for sure that activity A and activity B are similar nature, or more or less are same resurfacing works, which we are going to use in this case. So the activity A disrupted using normal productivity rates. We're talking about activity A, we have 1,100 meters square per night 1 and 1,100 meters square night 2, total of 2,200. For the first night, it was a good weather, but 0 works happened, although everyone was on site and there was cost associated, but 0 works, no direct works happened at all. So that's 0 meters square of works happened in the first night. In the second night, it went perfectly well, and the site team was able to achieve 1,100. We're taking almost about more or less for the average. But if you go to night 3 and night 4, it shifted to bad weather. Bad weather, it would be drizzling, a little bit windy. It's affecting the progress. That's of disruption. So by looking at activity A alone, without even looking at activity B, which we'll go with for it now, you can still compare night 3 and night 4. We had the average of both nights by finishing the remaining 1,100, which is 550 meters square per night. So by only comparing to night 2 within the same activity, you can achieve the measured mile approach. You can say, yeah, okay, here it is. It went as planned, it went as perfect, and with the same team, with the same crew, and with the same everything, and we did achieve what was planned for. That's the ideal scenario. The other case, you would have to find another similar activity. Similar activity would be, let's say, activity B, which is more or less 1,150. More or less, you wouldn't find something that would be exactly, it may be 1,000, and you can prove that maybe it took 4 hours and a half or anything, or they could do the 5 hours, but still you can compare with another activity. The earned value analysis approach. Any scheduler, planner, cost control would love this method because like they love it, basically. So in the activity A, we'll have the planned man hours. To simplify the works in here, remove all of the hours, make it easy. The planned man hours is 200. So 100 per night, that's the average. The cumulative is 100, then 200. And it's very straightforward so far. The cumulative progress percentage is 0% first night. No works, superload movement, no direct works, and nothing happened. Night 2, 50%, which it was as planned, and every night cumulative increasing by 25% to 75 to 100. Why? Because of bad weather. If you look at the cumulative earned man hours, it's 0 the first night, 100 second night, and 50 as earned value. You wouldn't have the 100, 50 per night, so it reached to 200. Have a look at the blue, which is the 60 man hours for the first night. The 60 why? Because they didn't complete the entire shift. They just had do support works, mob to the site, mob and demob for the super load, and demob to leave the site. So 60 and night to 100. And although that the earned was 50 only, but they were full shift, but it was bad weather, so it consumed a lot of work for them to achieve half of what's planned. So another 100 here and 90. So when you can compare, or if you want to claim for the cost, you would claim for the 200, for the difference between the 350 and the 200 in here. Work sampling approach. Work sampling approach, it's basically having percentages of each stage. Each stage, ideally, you would make it support works, direct works, and so when you have the support works, which would be like the mob, you'll have 25%, 62.5%, 12.5%. Then when you do the same for the disrupted event, you will have that the total is 62.5. So you can still justify that because of the disruption and the decision, it took 62.5, leaving 42.5%, which wouldn't be sufficient to complete and open the works. That's another method. And again, we have to use it all as per order of preferences. So whatever data you have, if you have the measured mile, you have to go for the measured mile, earned value, work sampling approach, and so the other methods. Whatever data, it depends on that. So ideally, you'll go measured mile, if not, earned value, and so on. The Craftsman questionnaire sampling approach. That's one of my favorites, actually. It has some downsides, and I wouldn't say that it's a methodology by its own. I wouldn't say it's more of a standalone methodology. It's ideally used with other methodologies, and as well, it's good also to use while you're still in the job, not forensically or retrospectively, where you left the job by years or doing the forensic analysis and you don't even have the stuff and you don't know who the stuff is. So it will be basically a sample questionnaire, and you'll be amazed by the answers that you get from the team and by supervisors. You may ask about a question, you may start the list by like 5-10 questions, and you may end up with 20-30 questions and different answers, and you might find an evidence. You might have a talk with the supervisor at night or something, might have an evidence that you didn't think about it, a photo somewhere, an email from a subcontractor. He might ring the subcontractor. If you have such interaction with the craftsman, you can build up a story, which wouldn't help only for doing the analysis, it would help in your case in general. So I would always love and I would always recommend to do the craftsman questionnaire with all of the other methods, if it's possible, definitely. Comparable work study. Comparable work study comes in two scenarios: the first form demonstration and second form demonstration. And again, as the order of references, that's not the first order of references, but we go down. So the first form would be comparing two activities, activity A and activity B. Ideally, would be for the same road closure, but the direct works is totally different. So activity A is done for resurfacing. Activity B is for concrete barriers and painting. But the same road, you have to do all of the support works. You have to close, you have to add your detours, you have to add everything. And for that's for activity A, and the same for activity B. But each activity, it's a totally different job. So you cannot compare concrete barriers and painting. You cannot compare it with the road closure and with resurfacing. You cannot have such comparison. So you basically take the planned man hours and the actual man hours for only the similar works. You wouldn't take it for everything. You are trying to mix and match and trying to do as much as you can. So for using only the similar works and comparing, having 100 per first night, we look at the total man hours, and 100 which 200, and here 600. 600 comes from 100, and it took 3 nights, 100, 150, and 150. So that's 600. But when comparing to activity B, which was, again, the similar works was only planned for 200, but it took 300. So in this case, we should only compare 600 with 300. We shouldn't compare any other figures. It's like, because, yeah, it was planned 200, but actually took 300. So the comparison should be apple to apple. So where we could compare 600 to 300 to know where the disruption actually happened. The second form of demonstration would be totally different subcontractor. You're the main you're the main contractor, and you have a totally different subcontractor. For activity A, which is 1,000 square meter, and by having the plant, you have the plant productivity, you have 10 hours. So 1,000 division by 10 would give you 100 square meter per hour. You have 10 hours based on 5 direct works in each night. But it actually took 3 nights. Taking the average of the 3 nights altogether would be almost 66.666 square meters. You can delve deep. Whatever data you have, you can still delve deep. But having only the average here, 66.66. Activity B resurfacing is 1,200. And as well, the plant productivity is 100 square meter per hour. But if you divide 1,200 over 15, it would give you less. So basically, the plant here, which is things which are hidden, which are not saying, it still finished on 3 nights, but we have an actual productivity list. Basically, if it's finished because like the plan was to finish in the 3rd night earlier. This might not be depicted everywhere. That's why it's not recommended only to look at one source. If you're looking for example, for a schedule, and it's not done by hours, you will look at 3 nights. That's good. So it finished in 3 nights, so everything's good. But if you look at the cost records and etc., it may be planned only or budgeted only for amount of hours for the 3rd night because they are going to leave early using hundreds. They are going to use 3 hours out of the 5 hours. So that's why you are going to pay only for 3 out of 5. But actually what happened is that they took the entire shifts every day, 5 hours every night. So this leaves to 80 square meter per hour. So again, when you compare, you have to be fair, you have to be reasonable, you have to dig deep to get the data. Don't use only the plan. Try as much as possible to remove all discrepancies. Try as much as possible to look at the actual data and compare it somehow. So here, whenever you want to claim, you would claim for the difference between 80 and 66.66, and that's the difference and multiply the square meters, and there you have your claim. Comparable project study. Comparable project study, it's very similar to the comparable work study, especially the first form, but basically you're comparing a totally different project. Like within your company, you have 2 projects, most likely are similar. So you're comparing whatever data that you have in here, comparing it with the other one. So that needs a lot of data collection, a lot of talking. You have to undergo a lot of comparisons, make sure ideally they would be in the same state for the weather, etc. Ideally, you would just try to minimize the differences as much as you can. So yeah, ideally same state, ideally same city, etc. As long as you have this data, it goes on. Specialty industry studies, we are not going to delve deep into this one. 25R-03 is mentioning it. It's basically when everything fails above, you're using the specialty industry studies. I would always say you can mix and match. You can use specialty industry studies to support the earned value measurement, to support something else. You can mix and match how much you could in order to have a solid case. Assume that you're building a story and explaining it to the court, and you have to mix and match and just convince someone that it's true using the factual facts that you already have it in you. So you'll go through there's heaps of studies, acceleration, changes, learning curve over time, and so on. The same goes for general, but if you don't have much specific, that's more of a generic, and it's mentioned even in 25R-03. It's not applied in here. The cost basis. Although the cost base is in the order of preferences, they are like in the lowest, just above the schedule. But it's used often. It's used often because it's easy. Everyone understands it. Everyone basically can relate to costs. So, and it's used in most of the case laws that I have seen so far. It's using the cost basis. The cost basis and the measure mal analysis, most of the cases that have been using it so far. So it's easy and everyone understands the numbers. If someone, let's say, not a planner or scheduler or cost professional, if you're talking about earned value or measured month, it's not very easy to grasp. But the cost basis, it's like everyone can understand it, fair and clear. For the cost basis, we'll have the activity A disrupted and activity B non-disrupted. To make it very easy, simple, straightforward, the labor cost, subcontract cost, equipment cost is as shown as in the screen, and we will take the night cost is almost 16,000. That's for any night cost, yeah? Having the same crew or more or less the same crew size, not the exact same crew, having the same machinery, having the same equipment, everything is there. So it's almost more or less you have the same price. But for the first night, because you left early, you didn't pay for the full shift. So that's why you have a difference, which is 13,750 other than 16,000. Using this, you'll have the total unit cost per square meter, which is 61.75. Why we're using the total unit cost per square meter? We're making it easy to compare activity E, which is 1,000, with activity B, which is 1,200, or maybe it's 5,000, doesn't matter. Once we have total unit per cost, we'd have 61.75, we'll compare it with 40, so we understand, okay, the disruption, because of disruption, we are costed, we had to pay extra, we incurred extra of 21.75, and that's what we paid, so we can claim it. Showing the total unit cost method as per the RB or AACE, showing only the labor cost, only factoring the labor productivity cost, we would have a unit labor cost for activity E 17.4, taking the data from the previous schedule, and activity B unit labor cost would be $12 per square meter, and the difference would be $5.4 per square meter. You multiply it by the 1,000 square meter, and you're good to go. You have a price that you can claim, provided, again, you have all of the documentation ready for that. What's used often is the modified total labor cost owed. The modified total labor cost owed makes more sense. It makes more sense because it's basically taking off any contractor problems. It's like the owner, it's not his problem to pay for bid errors, for inefficiencies, for etc. There's two things that I would like to say here. For as per, if we are going to use the RP alone, the RP is using a method, a naming called total labor cost expended, and then subtracting the acknowledged contractor problems, subtracting the total labor cost paid. We will explain this one, but later on we went through the case laws, and we suggested even a different calculation method for the RP and AACE based on total labor cost estimated. There is a big differences, and total labor cost expended is even explained in the next slide. Just to explain what is in the RP, but by the way, RP is not law, is not contractual, unless you have referred it to the contract. You can always deviate from the RP. You can always deviate, unless, again, if you add it to the contract. It's just a recommended practice, like how it's recommended to do the thing. But you could do it in any way you wish that would make it sufficient for you. So the total labor expended would be 450 in here. There was some contractor problems. By taking this contractor problem by an expert who's doing the analysis, or by someone, that would 10,000 bit errors, 5,000 for mismanagement or inefficiency. So that totals up to 15,000. The total labor cost paid is 420. So now you have you have 450, subtract 15,000 and 420, you will have 15,000. So what's the total cost expended? Yeah, terminology itself is confused on, because it's the comprehensive obligation or liability. It's not something that you already paid for the labor, something that you owe for the labor. So in other case laws, which we referred only to one here, but there's other case laws which didn't use the cost expended, it used the cost estimated. So that's why we have referred to the total labor cost estimated, and it makes more sense and makes everyone can understand it easily and can relate to it easily. Cost estimated, that's what we estimated for. That's what we have errors in, and that's what we actually paid. So straightforward and easy. So the estimation labor cost would be 5 labors. It's just an example for that. For 2 nights, equal 4,800. The error, it was 10 labors instead of 2. So it's 9,600. So that's an extra of acknowledged contractor problems of 4,800. What actually paid is 17,400. So the owed amount is 7,800. And that's another example showing the same. So using the total labor cost method, we highly recommend to still use the total labor cost estimated rather than the total labor cost expended. Even whenever you reach to court, you can still refer to the case laws which use the same example. And then conclusion, I'll leave the floor to Rania.
Thank you, Kareem. I'll share.
Yeah, sure, no worries.
So now to summarize the main points we introduced.
You are muted, Rania.
Sorry. Thank you, Kareem. Now to summarize the main points we introduced today. The main considerations in proving disruption claims. First, from the very beginning of the project, the contractor ought to establish a uniform system of capturing and recording field labor productivity information and compare it with as bid or as planned productivity. And if there is any deviation from the plan, so the contractor or analysis of causation should be made. For the contractor, he should review the updated schedule regularly and should make analysis to the subcritical delays in order to determine if these subcritical delays affect the productivity rate in order to prove causation. In order to avoid global disruption claims, the contractor should identify each source of disruption with adequate evidence and on a timely manner in order to prove causation. However, in all cases, contractor should, in order to secure successful disruption argument, contractor should specify instance for which the owner violated the specific provisions of the contract, or instance in which additional expenses are expressly stipulated under the contract. In case the disruption has ripple effect or multiple impact, so the contractor should differentiate between the impact of the loss of productivity and additional expenses due to further changes or additional works caused by disruption. Also, the contractor should differentiate between the individual effect and overall effects of all events taken together. In case the contract exclude specific forms of disruption, so the contractor may add the losses or damage due to such events as a contingency in the contract price if the probability of occurrence and the impact or the severity of such disruption events are high. Also, in order to prove causation, the contractor should maintain records to demonstrate disruption to actual progress, not planned progress. And this is a very important point in proving disruption claims. Also, in case the disruption affected managerial staff or indirect resources, as well as the direct resources, so contractor should maintain records to prove how much of the time of this staff or this indirect resources has been disrupted. The main considerations in quantification of disruption claims: the contractor should maintain and check cost data regularly, including quantity information, and incorporate such data into productivity analysis related to disruption. Also, in case the contract didn't specify the method of calculation of disruption, so the contractor should consider the acceptable approach according to each jurisdiction. The contractor should carefully examine the accuracy of the cost records in order to ensure that it provides the required information for loss of productivity. Contractor should consider the pricing of cost structure in the analysis or in the categorization of cost data in order to determine the root cause of poor productivity. Now I will leave the floor to Kareem.
Yep, I think, yeah, you keep sharing. It's 2 slides. So, yeah. In the first slide, it's basically we went through disruption claims. We just want to highlight that disruption doesn't start forensically, like unless you're forced to. Like, but I would say, prospectively, once you have been through doing disruption, you can always prepare for the right documentation and start and make sure that you have this data somewhere where you could utilize it later. If you're happy, can you bring the previous slides, Rania, please? Okay, the one before. The one before,
Yes.
I mean. Yep. I think the one before. The one
Sorry?
before, 45. Yep. Nope.
It's this one,
Okay.
right?
Oh, good. Yeah. Thank you. I'm still in this one. Sorry. So basically, like the choosing method, I would always say mix and match. You shouldn't follow one particular method, and always remember that the RP is just for giving an advice. So you shouldn't follow exactly. If you believe and if you have the data and you have the right documentation and the evidence that you could support your claim, it's okay to delve out from the RP, mix and match, take ideas, look at this SCL, look at previous case laws, and choose the right methodology which applies for you. The formula adjustments, I would highly recommend to use not the traditional method. I would highly recommend to use if any case law has a different even method, like I didn't find so far. But if you have a traditional method, just go for it. And if you feel like, for example, the example that we have given for the total labor cost estimated or expended, if you feel like, okay, expended makes sense in this case, or estimated makes sense, then go for it as well. It's not like something that low or very contractual or very clear or unambiguous in the contract that you have to follow, unless I have seen one contract before, which is actually mentioning it clearly that you have to follow the RP. It was 29R. Yeah. Usually like disruption and everything, everyone cares about it because of the increased cost. You have the inefficiency, and you always have to relate it with the cost somehow. Before even starting disruption, my usual routine, which like investigate clearly all of the documents that you have, whether if there are any mistakes, if there are any bit errors, was it planned probably, was the supervision right? So going to the next slide. One minute. Yeah. So yeah, for the next slide, we have the measured mile. Basically, in simple terms and in summary, for the measured mile, it's disrupted against undisrupted. Earned value, which is the earned value and the financial impact more. Work sampling is trying to have the productivity losses, categorizing into direct, indirect, support, and delay activities. Craftsman questionnaire, you can add it to any of the methodologies that you want. Project comparison studies, we have the 2 forms, you can use whatever, and that's the order of preferences as per the RP and as per the US case laws as well. So going to the next slide. Total unit cost method. The cost method is used very often. It's very easy as well to grasp, and just the most one which makes sense is the modified one, because the client shouldn't pay for any bit errors you made, shouldn't pay for any inefficiency that has been done. It should pay only for the costs incurred. You can always combine with the critical path consideration. The planners would love it, the schedulers would love it. You'll have to assess with the disruption how it affects the critical path. It's not recommended to use it alone for the analysis of the disruption. It's a very good supporting tool. It's very good to show that if there's delay, if disruption may occur without having any delays or any critical delays. And then again, always consider combining an integration with different and other methodologies. So yeah, and thank you all. we have finished, and we are open to questions. So anyone want to ask a question, feel free to write in the chat. We can open the mic and we can speak, or like what Lucia would recommend. So yeah, thank you.
Anything I would recommend to get the answer to the question which people need to get. Thank you very much, Rania and Kareem. It was very informative, as always, regarding disruption. Well, we answered one question which we received, but I have two questions. One question is, have you seen a successful disruption claim? And how did it look like? If yes, how did it look like?
It was yes and no. It ended up eventually. I would say in this case, I love your questions, Lucia. That's second time. So yeah. So I would basically say there was one event actually. We did a lot of calculations. We did actually I remember it took almost 4 to 5 months. We were working to prove it. And you know how it ends. At the end, in my point of view, because of political reasons, etc., the only thing that we were able to achieve is to prove that we deserve something. I'm not going to say what is it, but we have the right of something. So we have, let's say, an upper hand for the upper management negotiation with each other. But the exact figures and going through the details, we did spend heaps of effort and time to do so. But eventually it ended up like, okay, that's the two figures. Thank you. That's how much we are delayed. That's how much it costed. Oh, okay, you have a big document. Thank you so much for that. That's good. We'll go. And it ended up with the upper management finalizing. So I would give it for disruption if you're gonna say such. Okay. Or I hope so, because I spent a lot of time. Sorry.
Okay. Do you think there's a lot of rumors about AI and everything? Do you think AI can help us or contractors to actually substantiate the claim in a better data? To provide better data so you don't feel just it is something.
You mean, Lucia, that using the AI and substantiating such claim?
Yeah, well, there is a lot of artificial intelligence and collecting the data and everything. How will you feel about this, substantiating the claim or just using new way of technology?
I think it would be successful because using AI in project control now has a significant achievement. And I think we made a presentation, or sorry, an event regarding this using AI in project control and contract management in May this year. And really, we observed that AI has a great achievements in project control using 360 camera, using another message. So it can record the productivity, yeah, and it can help in recording the productivity rather than the daily reports. I think, for your question, yes, it would be successful.
Thank you very much. We have very long question from Amir.
Amir.
I don't know how to portion this. I have a little bit of cough. Can one of you read it, please, and answer?
Sorry?
Thanks for
Amir. I'll read it.
Amir, thanks for the good presentation. It's a challenge presentation related to disruption, focusing on the example presented by Kareem, who is brilliant as always. Moreover, I have 4 questions as follows. How would you present a disruption claim in arbitration where the main disruption is attributed to multiple overlapping events? This is the first question. First, I would like to Amir, as we said, if it is related to overlapping event, so it's a global claim. You mean I cannot demonstrate the causal link for each and every event. Actually, this is difficult to be accepted by the course, as we said. Course will not support a global claim يعني at least in part, if I can demonstrate the causal link for part of the claim, so it will be successful or it will be covered. However, the global claims are not supported so well in arbitration or in the courts because if it lacks or it didn't demonstrate the relationship between the cause and effect for each event specifically. So it depends on how you will demonstrate your case. How do you prove your case? How do you present the story? How you will combine? But at the most probably that the court cannot accept the global claim unless it's really apparent that the disruption has an effect. So for the amount demonstrated or amount can be obvious for the court, it will be recovered for the damages.
May I add to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so what I would really say here for presenting, first of all, if you mean disruption, multiple overlapping events, you have to break it down somehow so you could relate. Okay, if you can provide an example, I would use this example, but I'll use any of the examples now. If design change, which happens almost in every project, if you can somehow relate this to the productivity of some activity in the site or even the shop drawings, it wouldn't be multiple overlapping. You will break it down as much as you can and showing the linking between each and every one. I think this would be like the short answer as well. Like you have to somehow dig deep. It's not like, okay, we were disrupted or there was a case that there were many change orders. And this many change orders actually caused a lot of more of a global claim and a lot of changes. So this change, in this case, the overall amount of the difference between what was planned, what was actually using the total modified total cost method was accepted, but the number was like huge, like they had 200 or something change orders. So it was easy to convince, like without the 200, that's how we are doing, and with the 200, the effects were as per the change orders, and it was actually successful. So if this answers your question, so we are happy to open the mic if you're okay with that, and then we'll answer your questions, and we're happy to have this further.
The second question is disruption occurs, but the contractor didn't notify the employee immediately. How would you address the late notice when preparing the claim?
Actually, we talked about notification last time. Actually, the notification in accordance with the contract first. If the contract says that you should notify, and if it is time barred or not time barred. However, if he sent late notification, okay, as you said, how would you address late notice? Okay, late notification is subject to the codes. So if there is a good justification to the late notification, may be accepted, such as, I will give you example. FedEx 2017, in this point specifically, it changed that 99 notice is time barred. If the contractor didn't send the notice within 28 days, so he loses entitlement for the claim. However, in FedEx 2017, he allows for justification to late notification, and the contractor should submit a reasonable justification. For example, for the justification that are given in FedEx 2017 is that the employer has a prior notification or prior knowledge of the event or circumstances giving rise to this claim or the disruption claim. So this is one. The second, if the employer hasn't suffered something or hasn't been prejudiced because of this late submission. These are examples that give justification for late submission. However, it depends on the engineer determination for this acceptance, on the courts, how the courts or how the tribunal will see the justification.
Yeah, if I can add something from the consultancy, yes. Rania is adding it from the engineer point of view, you Kareem from contractor. And I will say that if it's not in a contract, there is a difference between if you are in a common law country or if you are in a civil law country.
Yeah.
And because we have civil law countries like Saudi Arabia or Khattab, Egypt as well, we will apply a civil code to this problem. So civil code is about your contractual terms. If it's not in a contract or you had accidentally missed this notice, unfortunately, common law is more strict with this.
Yeah, you're right, Lucia. Yeah, common law is more strict in this, but civil law, as I see cases in arbitration, there's a time bar, and as FEDEC 99, it's explicitly mentioned that the wait is right after the time limit for the notification. However, some arbitrators didn't take this in consideration and accept the justification because it is reasonable. However, in the common law, as you said, it's not accepted. Time bar is time bar.
So think about from which country you will select your lawyer when you go to the case.
This is it.
I would like to add also, like in this case, because the notification, like I believe Rania and Lucia have fully covered, I would just like to say there's two cases. Either it would be time bar or time limited, as Rania has said and explained well. If it's time barred, and as well as Lucia, this means more or less you may lose your right to claim. But if you're time limited and there is a breach of contract, if you didn't use it and did the late notice, this would be a breach of contract. Breach of contract, to be considered as a breach, there should be a damage occurred. Like if no damage occurred, the court wouldn't support this case. So I'll just add to this case because okay, yeah, you're late, you're breach of contract, you did the actual, and there is no damage. So most courts will say, yeah, okay, late notice is okay for this case.
Yes. And what supports what you said, Kareem, that FEDEC 2017 supported this. If the late notification didn't cause any damages or the employer hasn't prejudice because of this late submission, so it can be justified.
Yes, okay. I think we fully covered number 2. So number 3 is a contractor. A contractor submits a disruption claim due to multiple design changes issued late by the employer. How would you calculate the productivity loss?
Actually, this is a case that happened with us already. The only disruption claim that I see succeeded, okay, because we have a project that succeeded to be because we had a project ready in Egypt, and this project, the employer had multiple design changes and several AACE issues. Okay, so in addition, there was floors that have been suspended because of the several changes. Okay, actually this was demonstrated the claim using measured mile because there was a period, a good period in the beginning where there was a daily reports that demonstrate the productivity in this period and the reports of the contractor. When he begins to make changes to these two floors, a lot of AACE has been issued in several times and in short periods. The productivity changes a lot in specific activities which have been performed before these changes happen. So it happens, and he can demonstrate it because he can use measured mile, and there was records. Actually, if there wasn't such records in the daily reports and contractors reports, maybe it cannot be demonstrated.
It will be very difficult. The records which I will look for will be man hours spent by the design team, because designers, I was involved in one contractor who had a big design team, and the designers were booking the hours per drawing. So it was very easy to identify difference between budget and actual, and each designer is paid by hourly rate, so you can easily calculate the loss of efficiency and to get the right money for that one. So managing design team and making sure you know who is working on how many hours on each drawing is very important. That's what I will look for if I want to use it later. Any other suggestions, Kareem, Rania?
I'll just say, like, it depends, Amir, like whatever data you have, you just have to follow whatever data. But answering your question, a very short answer, you can still submit a successful claim if it's global, having the right documentation and utilizing the method that you use. That's the very quick and short answer. So yeah, I think yeah.
It depends on the presentation, I would say,
Yeah.
how well you're able to present it to other party, and about their willingness as well. If they want, if you wish, if they want to accept it or not. It's sometimes we get only rejected, but then you go back and try again. No.
Yeah.
Well,
I agree. I agree
Yep.
with you, Lucia, that the presentation is the most important. How you will present your case and how you will convince the tribunal. This is very important. Most probably, as I see in arbitration cases, the global claims are not much successful unless it has a good
Yes.
presentation and the cause is explicitly expressed to the tribunal. That the disruption is the main reason. Even the causal link is not directly presented, but disruption is obvious.
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you. I think it's number 3. Number 4, during managing a project that experiences a sudden site shutdown, how would you assess whether this even qualifies as a disruption claim?
Yes, site shutdown or suspension. If you mean suspension, okay, so site shutdown for a period and this will resume again. Suspension is one of the causes for a disruption claim because of the learning curve. You know that the learning curve of the laborers, or any laborers would go through a specific learning curve. So the progress at the beginning of the activity would be slow or would be low until it become more familiar with the activity and do it every day. So the learning curve becomes more higher and the productivity becomes higher. If I suspend the work and then I resume again, so the laborers will be taken away from their activities or from the project due to suspension and then resume, they will start the learning curve from the beginning, and this will take much time. Learning curve are one of the reasons for disruption.
I'd like to add, yeah, it's good. It's good. I like the way of thinking. We have to relate it to disruption, but in my point of view, it's more of a delay event. Like you shut down, you stop work, you shifted the works. So in my mind, it's not more of a disruption. It's good to think this way. Like
it's a tool. It's both. Yes, delay.
Yeah,
delay.
It's good.
Suspension under clause of suspension. Okay, so it is delays. It's a delay claim. But in addition to the delay, it might be a disruption because of the learning curve.
That's why it's good. It's good that the first thing, the question I'm adding to your point, it's good that we have the disruption point of view, because once we come back to work, but at first it's a delay event, you suspended works, shifted everything, then the disruption comes because you're restarting, so you're taking more time. You may say it's disruption, but I would add it as well as a delay, because I will add, let's say, demob and mob again and everything. So that would take the learning curve, takes its time. It can work both ways, but I love thinking of disruption. Anyone would think of disruption first. That's perfect.
I just want to clarify, these are two separate events. Delay event, okay, because of disruption. This is one, and it goes without saying, because the suspension is caused by the employer, so it goes without saying this is a delay event and he will take time for this suspension. However, if Amir, your question related, is this event can be considered as a disruption also? Yes, suspension and resume work, yes, it can be considered disruption because of the slow of the learning curve. As I said, it will begin again. So it is considered a disruption claim also, in addition to the delay.
For me also, I will call it a delay and disruption, and I will take the cost which are delay connected with indirect costs. So you still have to have offices, you're paying for this each day. And disruption, yeah, direct resources. So you're paying them even they don't do anything.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah.
Yes.
So
yes.
I will ask
Yes.
For everything as a consultant.
Right.
I'll add for this, Lucia, that even though, because this is in one case laws, that yeah, thank you so much for this, but I would like to add that even though you want to claim for everything, but there is a duty of care. Let's say that the stoppage is for 1 week or 2 weeks or a month. Okay, so I cannot hire and fire. But if it's known at some time, it's a year. For example, I just wanted to add this for Amir or for anyone else. Like, if it's a year, then you have the duty to demop and mob again. You wouldn't pay rates for a year. Nonsense. Just to clarify, I understand that it's in both of your, like, just to clarify for everyone.
Depends on the situation, and we know there is a problem with the labor in the Middle East as well to bring the labor. And then you bring them for the specific work, and after 1 month you will get a suspension. What are you going to do with them? Yeah, you allocated them specifically for the project. Now you have to find different project. Yes. And then it will come what Rania said about the learning curve and starting with the new people again. So it is. Well, it cost us a lot. Yeah, I guess. Well, Amir, thank you very much for so many questions. Definitely, it brought a good discussion. We have one more. Is appreciate if the slides can be shared. So I believe we can share the slides after this session, because this is our second session. So people who attended could receive the slides. Rania, Kareem, is that okay? You can share the PDF slides to them.
Sure, we'll send it to all attendees.
Okay, and that was, I think, our last question. And in that case, only thank you very much, Rania and Kareem, for this fruitful presentation, and everyone who attended and stayed with us until now. Very good.
Thank you. I just want to highlight, if anyone in the attendees, like, feel free to write in chat, ask for open your mic, ask for anything. So we are here. Like, I think we'll give them a minute or two, Lucia, if you're happy, and Rania. Let's see if anyone comes with the question.
Well, we're happy. We were thinking about you because you would like to go to sleep soon.
Definitely. Thank you, Lucia. Thank you.
Me and Rania are getting ready for lunch. So
right.
That's very considerate for you. So yeah.
Okay.
If no questions within this 1 minute, we are happy to end it up and call it. If you want to write in the chat, write in the Q&A, just feel free, ask for open mic, and we will open it for you, and we will have a total chat. I don't know if we can open the mics for everyone. Can we do so?
Don't complicate this, because we were happy to manage it with our technology by this point. And I know you like to talk, so I think everyone who wants to talk with Kareem, feel free to reach for him on LinkedIn. He's a very chatty person, and I'm sure he's going to answer your questions.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
I think we can close the session. Thank you very much, all. See you next time.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Lucia, for moderating this event.
There is one more. There is one more hands-on. Patrick O'Neill asks, let me allow microphone. I'm able to do this. And camera as well. Perfect. I'm becoming skilled in this. Patrick, you're free to talk now.
No, I just want to thank you guys. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. See you.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.